Well, good afternoon. I assume everybody can hear me at this point, so we're going to get started. It's about 2 o'clock, and I think we're right on time, so it looks like most attendees are on the line today. So we're going to make this short and sweet. I think we're going to probably keep it to, oh gosh, upwards of maybe 20, 30 minutes so we can get to the point and hopefully get some value out of this today. You may have seen that this was logged in through a Kelly Taylor. My name is Sean Farrell. I am the CEO of Managed Solution based out here in Southern California. And today we're going to be going through what we talk about in the world to customers in what is called the hybrid cloud, and really what we consider the best of both worlds when it comes to running your technology. So we appreciate you jumping on today. We're excited to have you, and we're going to kind of go through this and then at the end give a quick demonstration of what all the cloud is. And excuse me, by the way, I do have sort of a cold today, so if I sneeze in the middle of this, I do apologize, but we'll try to put you on mute if that happens. So let's get started. That is me right there. I just wanted you guys to kind of put a face with a name. So no, it's actually not. But this is I guess what we get a lot when people start talking about the hybrid cloud these days. We get a lot of that. I don't really think I know what it means or what you're talking about when you talk about hybrid cloud. So obviously today what we want to do is sort of define that for you and, maybe even add to some of the stuff you've already heard from a cloud definition perspective before, because there's so many things going on with what cloud means that we want to clarify for you. So I will say this, hybrid cloud is definitely attracting millions of managers and IT people and just business people alike, whereas they see the value in moving some of their technology to a cloud platform while at the same time keeping stuff on premise. So hence the hybrid cloud. So what is it? Well, we wanted to do something that was very simple for the customer or the people on the line today to understand. I mean, there's a million, images out there and drawings that people have put up about what the hybrid cloud is, but we thought we'd keep it straight to the point. So hybrid cloud is really an environment, a technology environment where you manage your assets, your resources, be it your applications that you use on a daily basis, some line of business applications, some mainstream applications like Microsoft, and you put them in two different places, some in the back room, the data center, the IT closet, the telco room, whatever it is we call it these days, and then others into more of a private or public cloud type strategy as it shows here at the bottom. Some of those very large public cloud providers we're probably hearing about are companies like Microsoft and Apple and Google and Amazon and some others where we can take applications we run in our business and run them in a cloud type strategy. And with that said, of course, you add the two together and you get what we consider to be the hybrid cloud. So I hope that resonates with some of you who are already doing some of this out there. I would say if you kind of look at it as an evolution, you're going to see more and more stuff that sits on premise today move towards the cloud tomorrow. So we start to roadmap that journey for you. So the question that I think a lot of organizations are asking today is, should I stay or should I go? And of course, they look at things such as, have I already invested in an on-premise infrastructure? Do I have servers in those back rooms, those telco closets, those big server racks that I paid a fortune for that I'm also paying power on? Do I want to control on-site applications or keep control of them when I move them to the cloud? And frankly, you don't really lose a lot of control when you go to the cloud, but that's a question. And then I think the number one question is if I am even prepared to move to the cloud, I don't want to move everything today. And frankly, we don't recommend in our business or to our customers moving everything to the cloud because I just don't think that we're 100% ready to do that just yet. But when we do start to move applications that sit on our premises today to a cloud solution, it enables new things to happen in our business. And we purchase cloud solutions in such a way that, we purchase them in things like software as a service, which you hear about. A great example is purchasing an application we're paying monthly for it and you're accessing it somewhere else. We can nowadays purchase hardware as a service where we're actually getting hardware that's rentable in the cloud. So think about those, for any CFOs on the line, there are capital expenditures you have today, and look at tomorrow as a way to rent server space in the cloud. My comparison has always been, we pay for our gas and electric on a monthly basis, and we're paying to consume that electricity. Well, when you think about compute usage, server usage in the future, sort of this hardware as a service or technology as a service model, that's where you move to more of an OpEx in the cloud. And depending on, how much you run the AC one day versus run the ceiling fan is kind of another analogy, you can curtail what you pay on a monthly basis for what you use in the cloud. And so the message is pay only for what you use, and it's very important. It is the future. It is called utility-based computing. But within all of that, what you're doing for your business, of course, is just really increasing efficiency, the availability that we all struggle with, I think the uptime, if you will. And then the big thing for a lot of businesses, especially for the small business community, is the ability to stand up businesses very quickly, putting applications up for our consumers, customers, remote workforce to use, all of those things that can quickly be scaled if you use a cloud strategy. So with that, I think we wanted to kind of talk about, what stays and what goes, and why certain things remain on-premise today, and of course, what would make sense going into the cloud. And we'll talk about some common applications that people actually do have, we say SaaSified, or put into a cloud-based form. So the one thing that all companies use today, if some of us are aware, some are not, is really a governance type tool, or what we call Active Directory. When you hear other IT providers or people in your own organizations come in and talk about how we govern or secure or really keep people in and out of certain files and folders and give them access or give no access, that's all done through our Active Directory services. So in today's world, we run Active Directory as an application on-premise in our own environments. So for that, we can still imagine that we're going to be able to control and secure all of the data, all of the applications we have, whether they're on or off-premise in a cloud, using Active Directory, which we still have on-premise today. Some of the other stuff that gets brought up a lot is, I have third-party applications. We have legal firms, CPAs, we have retailers, we have a lot of healthcare and biotech organizations that we work with who all say, I have certain type of applications that either can or cannot go into the cloud. And what we're finding is that those application providers, the people building them, sometimes require that we keep them on-premise today. So a lot of what we would say are line of business or vertical applications, we believe that they should still stay on-premise today unless the vendor who builds them has otherwise made a cloud solution for them. The other side of that is looking at applications that we use on a almost daily basis, such as email or CRM systems, or some of the common accounting packages like QuickBooks. When we start thinking about those type of tools that we use daily, there are offerings out there today which make us much more scalable and efficient, and really are much more cost-effective, that belong in the cloud. So things like email, our common Gmails and Outlooks that we use, all of that stuff can be purchased in the cloud today for a few dollars per user per month. And frankly, we don't need to continue to have those big email administrators on staff or guys who specialize in managing servers anymore for these type of applications. So we say move them to the cloud, and we'll show you a little bit later on what some of those applications in a cloud-based form look like. And of course, we hear a lot about where we store data, that it's going into the cloud or it's off-site. Again, all things that we can kind of put and move towards the cloud as we go forward. But at the end of the day, what we're creating with this hybrid type strategy is really, again, that scalable, cost-effective, and when I say cost-effective, evaluating both sides on and off-premise way in which we move to the cloud. And there's some strategy in doing that, or road mapping that needs to take place. So I think we get the idea here. So what does the future look like? There's always these slides I think are important to put in here that just talk about where this is all going, and this, starting from what the government's saying all the way down to what some of the industry experts, and in this case IDC, just published in the last year. So what they're talking about is hybrid cloud services growing, and you kind of see the numbers here from 17.4 or $17.5 billion in 2009 to about $44 billion by 2014. All they're trying to get across here is that all of the product providers, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Apples, all of the people who build applications are all going to start to build applications and their products such that you receive them or get to them via cloud-based form. And so we'll in the future be using our Internet Explorers, our Safaris, our Firefoxes, and logging in and getting to our applications somewhere in a cloud. And as you can see, in this year alone, the U.S. government had $70 billion on IT budget to spend on cloud computing. So it's a trend. It's moving that way, and we just do not see as an organization anything turning back. So again, you kind of see the outlook over the next 5 years. There's going to be some strong pickup around the cloud, and we just want to see both our customers and other IT providers out there really making that transition. So that's some statistics. So the benefits of the hybrid cloud, I'm sure you've got a lot of them from people, and I'm sure a lot of people think there may not be benefits, but again, we'll talk about some that we think are important to people. I think the first one is the ability to leverage both the public and the private clouds. There's people who have in the last 6 months, a year, invested in a lot of servers and data center, or just heavy internet usage that comes into our own closets in the back rooms there. And those CapEx costs were expensive, and frankly we should take advantage of them. And there are certain applications that still need to run on premise. So those ones should stay there, and we agree with that. On the other side, what applications can move to the cloud, in our minds, those clouds provide high levels of uptime, typically 4 nines and sometimes 5, so you have very little, downtime or increased employee productivity for that matter. So it's important that people start to make that move and figure out what works from a hybrid cloud strategy. So the other one would be is enhanced agility. I think the one thing that companies have kind of got into over the last few years is a way to look at how they deliver IT services to their consumers. So the way I see it is that we in IT departments or our partners who have full-time IT departments, they are a delivery mechanism for their organization who deliver technology to help their users. And with that, being able to stand up, whether it be applications very quickly, stand up to users within seconds of them coming on board to organizations, giving them applications that are going to help them in their business on a daily basis from a productivity standpoint. That's the agility that the cloud gives us. And then of course third, and always last but not least, it's a cost saving exercise if done right. And I preface that with the if done right, because there is, again, OpEx costs that come into moving to the cloud, and in some cases where we see legacy technology and we're starting to move into new systems, it makes sense to move to an OpEx model in the cloud and get rid of some of those older CapEx costs. And the big one I think here is just scaling. If we know that we can scale our business very quickly and add new users and create productivity right off the bat, we're going to create additional revenue in our business for our new employees as they come on board. So we thought we would talk about, and we've had many of them with this hybrid cloud strategy, just a success story. And we thought one of the best companies that we had worked with most recently was back in June of 2013, a large university here based in San Diego, California. So we had a university come to us and said to us at the time, we're a 250 user or student faculty type population. We operate on a physical campus in San Diego. We have a kind of a mix of student faculty at this point, but one of the things they were trying to do was scale to become an online university and be able to add students very quickly to their, we'll call it their workforce, and be able to bring net new applications to help students and faculty collaborate and really hold online classes. So in that, what we went out and did, or I guess the ask was, how do we go about doing that, and how do we create a remote workforce so students could be more mobile and bring all those cool devices that they love to work, like the iPads and the Android tablets and the Windows Surfaces and all these other great things that are out there today. And so what we did is we actually went on and created what we call a mobile or online campus, or for a lot of people they call it a BYOD type play for people, bring your own device to work. What that did was we gave students and faculty the ability to log in through a web browser and get to all of their core applications, be it Microsoft Outlook and Word and Excel and all of their current Office applications. They were able to communicate via instant messaging and have different video and conferencing tools that they had never had before, all by logging on through a web browser, which I'll show you later today. The other side of it was they actually had student information systems, and really what we would consider their line of business application, which in the case of this college, they actually didn't have the capability of putting those in a cloud because the application wasn't ready, so we housed it on premise. Hence, they had their private model and, of course, their public model to create that hybrid cloud atmosphere. So the result after we got through it was within 6 months of working with them, as we got into, I think it was end of December, the student population had actually grown through the admissions department to over 1,800 students. They were able to take students, bring them up to speed, and we could log their information into a system and quickly create student accounts and quickly create applications that they could get to within seconds of them joining the university. So they could add students very quickly, the same thing as faculty through an online portal we created. And of course, talking back to that, earlier conversation about control and governance and security within the college, they still had Active Directory on premise to be able to really govern that campus. So all of that results with the growth of the student population. Of course, faculty as well meant a huge increase in revenue for the college as well. So I hope that's a good success story or something that might resonate within your business. With that, we talk about our kind of hybrid cloud strategy approach, and I would say this to any customer we talk to or any partner in the field that we're working with. I think it's all about planning and really understanding, what your business looks like today and what it needs to look like tomorrow. So we have people on staff who we call advisors or forward thinkers, or really just, what we call strategists who look at where we're going to go on a roadmap as we move forward with our customer base. So the first thing we do is we like to get into what we call solutions planning with customers, really evaluating their application sets, what CapEx investments they've had on premise today, and what already has been invested in current IT solutions. And then what we try to do is start to look at acquisition of certain cloud technologies, whether it be just email in the cloud or CRM systems in the cloud or whatever it is that makes the most sense financially to the customer. And then, of course, from there we go through an integration and test phase, and then to end that up, depending on how we work with their on-site IT departments, we can provide US-based help desk that we support here at Managed Solution, or we actually house here, some of our on-site support services. And then one of the things we like to continue to do with customers is provide a CIO service to them, which is really a forward-thinking strategy as we look at future applications moving to the cloud. So all of that we manage and monitor, and it really kind of embodies a full, what we call managed cloud solution. So the last thing that I thought I would kind of talk about before we do the quick demo is just talking about the stuff that you actually do get in these clouds when you do work in more of a hybrid cloud strategy. So when we deploy, the most key components that we want to bring to the plate each and every time are some of the common applications you use today, and then some new ones that, frankly, a lot of organizations probably don't. So we're all familiar with Microsoft Office, the suite of tools within, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, sometimes Access, and some of the new products that people may not be familiar with, like OneNote, for just really keeping an online tab of notes. But those type of products come with our hybrid cloud strategy. The traditional email and calendars with Outlook come with our strategy, and that they come with larger mailboxes as emails get larger. We're able to go out and do file sharing in the cloud, just like we would do on premise today, to be able to store and keep files and keep them safe, frankly, so they never get lost, and secure that, of course, in the cloud with governance through tools like Active Directory. We can actually build websites with some of the cloud tools that we deliver. So a lot of our organizations who really adopt these cloud strategies use some of the software that's included to actually build their what we call external-facing website. And frankly, the opposite happens, where a lot of companies nowadays create internal or intranet portals through these tools that allow them to communicate news events in their business. I think one of the coolest things that's happening in the cloud, which a lot of people are taking advantage of, is just the ability that it creates for people to be more mobile or communicate better. So as you see on the slide, we talk about things like instant messaging or having presence of your people, knowing where they're at any given time, and being able to communicate via conferencing mediums like audio and video conferencing. And then what that all creates is a mobile workforce where they can log in through a web browser, get to all these applications, and be productive, day in, day out. So if we get through that, we want to talk a little bit today about our demo and just kind of show you some of the stuff that comes as part of a hybrid strategy in the cloud. So give me just a second here. I'm going to jump out of this and bring you over into another screen. Hopefully we can see that. And I've actually just populated over to another screen that's really right now being accessed through Internet Explorer in our case, which is our primary web browser at Managed Solution. So if you notice, and I think the simplest thing to do is if we kind of scroll over here and look across the top of the screen, we're actually sitting and looking at this through a web browser, some of the common tools that we're used to using in our day-to-day business. So up here you see Outlook, and actually I'm in the Outlook screen as you can see it right now. You can see all my emails coming through just like they would on premise. There's different flavors of Outlook. Obviously, this is the newest version with Microsoft for 2013. So again, you can see these right here. If you notice, we scroll over and we have our calendars that sit right there with any appointments that happen in the day, and I'm actually logged into my own screen, so I'm just showing some of the appointments that we have going on. And then if we continue down the road here, you can start to see the contacts in your organization. So here's all of our Outlook contacts that sit inside of our organization. But if you notice, what's really cool about what's happening in cloud-based solutions is we're able to go out to the internet and pull in other type of contacts like this. So if you notice, I have my LinkedIn contacts brought into my organization right here. So if I'm in a marketing department or I'm a CFO or a salesperson and I want to find contacts outside of my organization that I actually might be more connected to, I can quickly pull in my LinkedIn contacts and actually market to them through this platform. So it's a very great tool for marketing people. One other thing I'd show you was really a product that we go through that's called Yammer, that's included in the cloud, that really talks about, a waterfall of information or real-time communication between employees. So you'll see at Managed Solution we have a lot of our employees. You kind of see our ugly mugs here, but you kind of see what's going on around the organization day to day. So we have kind of an all-company following of people that talk about all the things that we do, Managed Solution, things that are happening on cloud and new products that are coming out. Very great for creating great cultures in the business. We also divide things up into, sales teams and management teams right here, where you can kind of see exactly what's going on within sales organizations. As a matter of fact, if you choose to, you can actually quickly create external networks, as you can see right here, where you can add users to an external network, and we took a couple of our nonprofits we work with, and then a couple with a partner who does different solutions in technology we work with, and we actually have the ability to create social networks with them to where we can communicate any updates between a project we're working on, as you can see, and or polls that we want to take. We can add documents to it where we can upload like project documents, which we've noticed a lot of people use this tool for a project management type play. But it's a very, very powerful tool to have real-time communication. And as you can see down here, you still see our people and actually the presence and the people who are working online at any given time to create that real-time communication. I'll kind of move back over into this and talk a little bit about, what's called now OneDrive or SkyDrive, which is really what people are now referring to as RC drives, the stuff that we used to keep on our desktop really being encompassed by our own personal drive in the cloud. And again, when you move to a cloud-based format, you get free storage. You get up to, I think it's 10 or so odd gigs with most organizations these days. But you can see you can store all of your personal information, and I don't have a lot in mine right now because we store it to our more shared drive, but you can store personal information in these drives. You can follow documents of others. So as you can imagine, people who, let's say you're editing a document and you want to hear that updates are happening. If you're following a document, anytime that happens, it funnels back into your Outlook saying the document has been updated. So really nice integration amongst the products. And then last but not least, we thought we'd talk about what we would consider intranet type portals and things like what we do here at Managed Solution, where we have all things communicated through what we would almost consider our own internal website, but what we call SharePoint in this case or an intranet portal. So in our organization, we have things divided up. We have our company calendar. We have sales tabs with different documents and sales type templates that you can see down the side of the screen. We keep our marketing content in there. And you can actually see, and I'll go back to this in just a second, you can actually see the people who are involved in the editing process in the organization and be able to communicate with them at any given time via instant messaging, presence, or other type of telephony tools. So you'll see one of our employees there, Will, who actually worked on, it looks like one of these documents here recently for one of our clients, Biocom. And you can kind of see that if we want to instant message Will or start to call him or even create a video call, we have him right there on the screen. So the last thing we would show you, which is we think one of the neatest ones, is really the product that kind of brings it all together, which is Microsoft Lync. And if you notice, you're going to see the presence of myself right here. You kind of see these greens and reds and yellows, and you're going to be able to see what I'm doing at any given time. In this case, normally my setting would be set to show that I'm in a meeting, but I've actually set myself as available so people can get a hold of me. With that said, if I went down the list of people who I have in my organization, and as a matter of fact, if you notice, people in others like Microsoft who we work with, I can kind of see their presence and what they're up to. So if I took someone like David Fitzgerald who works in our sales department, if I wanted to right-click on David and actually choose how I wanted to communicate with him, I could. So instead of the old phone calls to people which we're commonly used to where I can call his work or mobile phone, maybe I want to send David an instant message and be able to ask him how he's doing. Or as an example, maybe I want to take David and be able to, let's go back to that. I want to be able to take David and actually, sorry about that. Anyway, I want to take David and actually go over to him and schedule a meeting with him or send him an email message. Any of those things can be done using this product Lync, which also is included as part of our cloud-based solution. So with that all said, I think you kind of get an idea of what the demo looks like, and by all means, demos are typically the hardest thing to do when you're in a live demo, but I think that gives you an idea of what it does. But I'll turn back to this, and again, I hope that answers some questions. But again, this is a quick demo. It was supposed to be about 20 to 30 minutes. I think we're right inside of that time. But again, if anything we can do to help you guys out there and really look at your digital strategy as you go forward and how you're going to move things to the cloud, we're happy to help. I was going to ask and see if there was any questions before we finish out here today, so let me jump out of this screen real quick and we'll go from there. Oh, yeah, it looks like we do have one question. So the question was, what does the transition look like? Like, what are people doing first when moving to the cloud? So I guess the simple step or answer that I've given a lot of people is, we don't want to do everything at once. The first thing to do is obviously do an evaluation of what actually should belong in the cloud. And we do that not only from the standpoint of, will the application function right? Is it secure? Is it going to be fast in the cloud? Are we going to get the same performance that we see on-premise today with some enhanced features? If all that's right, and then we can also figure out that the capital or operational structure from a financial perspective is right, then I think that's a good idea when it comes to moving that application to the cloud. So some of the number one things we're seeing today as far as movement are definitely email. A lot of people who use, and I think the primary email platform out there, be it Outlook, many people that we work with are starting to see Outlook move to the cloud. We're also seeing a lot of people who had not otherwise used products like CRM systems have abilities to buy, because they were cost prohibitive, frankly, are starting to buy those options in the cloud. And that's kind of where we're seeing things start. We're also starting to see people take and put a lot of what they would consider their storage in the cloud, because it's much cheaper and much more cost effective than going out and buying these large storage devices on premise today to just what we do or call, do cloud storage. So I hope that answers your question. Anything else here? No. Oh, another question is, what are the recommended cloud providers that are out there today in terms of, who's doing what? That's a big question. I guess my answer would be, I'll try to get it to the point. So in our mind, everybody's offering cloud solutions, and we try to remain somewhat agnostic to, who we choose and what we think is the best solution out there. But I will tell you this. The largest companies in the world, I kind of call them the 800-pound gorillas, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Apples, the Amazons, the VMwares, even the Ciscos. Those organizations are all taking what products and applications they once built and sold to you on-premise and allowing you to buy them today in the cloud. With that said, I think at the end of the day, we need to look at each of those providers and say to ourselves, who provides the most integrated platform in terms of having hardware and applications that we can consume on a monthly basis from an OpEx perspective. And so far, in my mind, the front runner in this market is going to be definitely Microsoft at number one, and probably Google sitting there at number two, as Microsoft has its Office 365 platform, which gives you your tools that I showed you today, as well as Google, which gives you your platforms like Google Apps and Google Docs. Beyond that, I think we see a lot of private cloud providers or people who do it locally to our region and other regions for that matter and provide similar type solutions. But my fear would be in the future is that those very large vendors are going to come in and from a just pure CapEx or cost of capital perspective, really beat up on the market and be able to really commoditize that product-based industry. So we believe with aligning with those large partners, this be it managed solution, and working to provide services built around their product offerings. Anything else? Okay. So I wanted to thank everybody. We're going to be doing these as often as possible. Right now we're doing them once a month. There's always the invites on our website. You can put them on your calendar. We do a weekly newsletter that we publish, and it's really about all things, technology. We'd love you guys to sign up. And anyway, hope to see you again next time. We appreciate the time today. Thank you.